everyone, Amanda here. Thank you so much for joining me. So I'm back with the epic junk journal journey. So in the first instance, I'm just going to explain what it is I'm actually doing with this journal, okay, and the process. Then I'm going to show you a couple of book ideas of what you could look out for to use in your journals and your junk journals. And then thirdly, I'm going to make some things to go in them and give some ideas and inspiration. I'm aiming for at least 4 or 5 or 6 ideas to share with you, so well worth a watch. So in the first instance, I've had a lot of comments telling me and giving me inspiration and ideas and support about, what I could do in this journal. I'm not new to journaling. I've been journaling a long time. The reason that I'm struggling with this is because I've told myself I've got to do it in an almost purist junk journal fashion. That means no digitals. I'm not using scrapbooking paper, although I might bend to that. I'm trying my best to just use recycled items, recycled books, recycled, or old vintage things, or things that I've made myself from scratch using my art supplies. We've got some recycled envelopes, and all the rest has been made using my art supplies. So that's why I'm struggling. Not because I don't have ideas about pockets, tucks, flips, you name it, I've done it. And check out some of my older videos. But I'm struggling to bring those concepts to this journal. So I'm going to try and flip that on its head today, put my positive pants on and make some stuff. So let me just quickly show you these books that I'm kind of focusing on. I do have other books, but I try not to have too many, because I think, as with anything, I don't like to be overwhelmed with supplies, and so I'll use minimal things until they're done, okay, rather than have loads of things cluttering up my space that don't all get used. So these are the books that I'm focusing on for this journal. I've obviously used the Edith Holden as well, okay, but mine was quite aged, and I've also used the Henry Terror, which are longer ones like this. But these are quite yellow, okay, and I'm not mad keen on them. These ones are still quite fresh and white. So this is the Field Guide to Birds of Britain. It's Reader's Digest. I think Reader's Digest have fantastic books, and I like this because some of them are drawn images, rather than just all photographic, and I like that. Okay, I do. I like that. So like that's photographic, but these are more drawn. Beautiful, beautiful images. And these are quite small images, so they'd be ideal for using, if you spend a bit of time fussy cutting, and you'll have as many birds as you could possibly want there. Okay, so if I ever need a bird, I can just go to there. Boom, I'm good to go. Natural History of Britain and Europe by Michael Chinnery. Excellent book. Excellent. Loads and loads of, there you go, your butterflies and your animals. And we've got florals. So we've got photographic ones, but also like drawn ones, like illustrations like this. And these kind of things are great. You could just cut the whole entire thing out as a panel, make an envelope out of it, a tag out of it. Loads and loads of uses. I'm going to be taking some of these and making tags. Beautiful. So that's a really good book, and this is what you're looking for when you're looking for these books to be useful. Obviously depending on your own personal taste, but if it's got a mixture of photos and then what I call illustrations, then it's a good book, okay, and you'll get lots of use out of it. And here's another one, Creative Gardening. This is quite a new one to me. It's absolutely gorgeous. Reader's Digest, Guide to Creative Gardening. And I pick these up in charity shops. Sometimes you can get things on eBay or World of Books. Sometimes they can charge a lot of money for them. So, have a look through your charity shops, see what you can pick up. You'd be surprised. And again, this one's got a mixture between photographic and illustrations, as you can see. And I've taken out most of the best ones. But as you can see here, like this one, illustrations and photos. So you've got a good mixture, and it's in the nice big pages as well. Okay. really good pages. So you could take the pages out and you could literally use those as journal pages. There's more things you can do if the pages are larger. So here's some pages I've taken, and we're going to get on with my first idea. Okay, so the first most obvious idea is envelopes. You can use recycled envelopes. You can use shop bought envelopes. I'm going to make my own envelopes because this is a pure student journal. So I'm going to speed the camera up and I'm going to try and make envelopes in a couple of different ways to give you some ideas. So off we go. So the first instance, I'm using my envelope punch board. Okay, so this is not necessarily doing it by eye. It's a little bit of measuring, but you've got a tool that helps you, and this is the best tool ever. Okay, and I'm using the 3 by 6.5 card size measurement. So you start off with a square that measures 7 7/8 by 7 7/8. Okay, and you can make envelopes that go horizontal, or you can do them vertical. I had to do a little bit of adjusting because the long flaps there were a little bit wider than I wanted. But all you need to do is fold them in or trim them off and make them to the size that you want. So I can't decide whether I'm having it as a normal envelope or if I'm going to have it as tall and skinny. So I'm having a bit of a think, what do I want, what do I want? I think I'll have tall and skinny because that book page is quite pretty. I'd quite like to see it. So you can, you know, already it's versatile because you can do it in 2 ways. I'm adding my glue. I had the glue completely wrong. I end up having to wipe some off, so just think carefully about where you put in your glue. I'm gluing the bottom and leaving the top open. That then gives me a tall, skinny envelope. Perfect for a tag. And I'm going to make a tag really quickly just out of some of the book pages. I'm just rounding that top of that envelope because I like them rounded. You don't have to. And removing my excess glue because I always had too much. I'm measuring it. I end up measuring it twice because I always forget. I should have a piece of scrap paper at the side of me and write the measurements down so that I remember. So here I'm just cutting any image will do. It's tall and skinny, and I'm going to cut it to approximately 3 by 6. Okay, you could completely and utterly do this without a trimmer. You could just cut it with your scissors, use a pencil and a ruler for your measurements, or just cut it by eye. Okay, super simple. It's just a little paper tag to go inside there. So I'm going to make it fit first of all, and then I think I do add a tab so that it's easier to lift it in and out of the pocket so you're not fishing about for it. So I'm going to grab my punch there. Just makes life easier. Lots of ways you can make a tab. You don't need a punch, but you know, it's pretty. I've got it, so I'll use it. And I'm using up some of the photographic images there, which are perfect when you're punching shapes out, because you just get all the colour and you don't necessarily know what it is, and it just looks really fun. So I'm adding that there, and then when I put it in my envelope, I realised that the tab has extended the length, so I need to trim some off. It's all just about adapting, making things fit what you want them to fit, making things look how you want them to look. And then all I need to do there is add a paper clip as a closure, and I can attach that in my book. I'm not adding anything else to that because I think that paper is super, super pretty. So now I'm thinking of another idea. Okay, now take note of this fold because I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can use this. Okay, so we're just folding it over, a really simple like folder idea. So that the bottom and the flap overlap with a small gap. I'm measuring the height of my journal to make sure it's going to fit. Okay, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to crease that to reinforce it so I can see, because we're going to do some cutting. Then open it and fold it the other way to find the centre point. Okay, then what we're going to do is fold it back in half, and we're cutting from the outer edge along the fold up to the first score line. And we're going to do the same at the top. And then we're going to cut the other side. This is going to make sure that the pockets, when we fold them and glue them, don't catch when you fold the page, and also give us our flap shapes for the top. Alright, you can do these in any size, and as I say, I'm going to show you 2 ways to use this design, 2 completely different ways. Now I've decided that the flaps are a little bit long, so I'm going to unfold the whole thing, fold it back in half, And that's to make sure that I'm getting it, just to make sure I'm getting it straight. You could just have cut it with scissors, but I like things to be straight and not on the wonk. So there's a super simple idea. Then all you need to do is glue the two sides of the bottom section to make the pockets. And because we've done that little notching when you fold, if you wanted to fold it, which I'm going to show you in a moment, it won't catch and it all folds nicely. So then this can go in my journal as I'm demonstrating. I've got a envelope pocket at the top, an envelope pocket at the bottom, and if I glue it on three sides, I've got a large pocket at the back. But here I'm going to show you a different way. So fold it in half and you could put it in a pocket. Okay. Also at the front of the book, I've done this one. And what I've done here, I've done exactly the same fold, but if you look, I've done it different. So we've got a pocket there, pocket at the top, and a pocket in the middle. Because I've folded this piece in half and I've added a hinge. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate. So you add your hinge to the side and glue it and then stick it onto your page. Okay, so that makes that fold and that idea usable in two ways. So it's a versatile idea. Give it a try. See what you could come up with. And by doing it that way, I've now got a possibility of 4 pockets. So there we go. If I unfold it, it's the same fold, different version. Versatility. So I can just add that to my book now, and that's good. You could also use that as a belly band. Just glue it top and bottom. Okay, and I'm just going to keep it closed with paper clips, and I do decorate further, which you will see at the end of the video how I've decorated it. So now I'm coming up with another idea. So again, we're just folding over. I'm folding the top, have the top shorter than the bottom, and I'm going to show you how to make a envelope with the gluing flaps. So I'm just putting my ruler on the edge up to 1/2 inch and folding it. Okay, and if you add gluing hinges to any form of pocket, you're just going to get a better result because it's going to give you the full width of the pocket. So here's how to do it. Super simple. Right, so I'm reminding myself so that's the bottom, that's the top. Okay, open it all out. So on the bottom section there, I'm going to go to the first score line. I'm going to cut a lot up to it and just notch to create those gluing flaps. And then the rest of that 1/2 inch fold, we can just cut that away. Okay. Super simple. This is the way to make any envelope yourself. Super simple. And you can do them any size. Cut that away again. And there you go. You've got your envelope, and you could make any size you like. I'm rounding the corners again because I just like it. It looks neater. You don't have to. And then you can just, I'm going to put a thumb notch. Just make sure that your thumb notch is not too large so that it shows when your flap's down. Okay, I'm centralising it roughly. Glue those little flaps. Fold it over. Too much glue, Amanda. Fold it over. Super simple. I'll just apologise for my mucky mat. Mucky in Yorkshire means dirty. So here I've just found an offcut on my desk, and I'm thinking, oh, what can I do with that? I know, I'll make a wrap for this envelope, like a belly band. So I'm just trimming it to make sure it's even, and it more or less fits. I just want to make sure if you're making any kind of wrap that it's not too tight that you can't get it on and off. Glue it. Super simple. That will keep that closed, and then all you need to do is put some sort of embellishment. And I've got all of these clusters that I made. So I'm going to go find my clusters. There's my tray of bits that I've done. Find one of my clusters out of my basket, and I can just really simply attach that to there, and that is absolutely perfect. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad I took time to make all of those clusters. Okay, and that will slide back on there fairly easily. I'm all fingers and thumbs, so make it look harder than it is. And you can put what you like in there. Okay, so in the end I come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 different pocket ideas. Envelope pocket ideas using just book pages. Super simple, and I think the way that I've demonstrated them means you could give it a try and you can do them any size, any orientation, and the principle of making them is probably the same whatever kind of envelope you want to make. Okay, so the first one I did was this one. All right, so this is the one, I made this version twice, and this one is hinged. Okay, so it's hinged. We've got a pocket there, well, an envelope here. Let me grab a tag. I need a tag. Have I got a tag? Tag. Let's grab one of my little creature cards. In fact, they might be going in here. So we've got a pocket there. Okay, it closes like so. And then it flips like so, and you've got another envelope pocket there. But because of the way I've folded it, you've also got a pocket in between. Okay, in between there. Then if you pin it down when you've done, you've also got a pocket at the back. Okay, so you've got a possibility of 1 to 4 there. All right, so that's one. Then my journal's a hot mess. I'm so determined to finish this. And then we use the envelope punch board. Super simple, easiest way to make any kind of envelope. But I made a tall skinny envelope. So this is one of the, on here, it's on the envelope punch board. It's under the gift cards. So it gives you long by skinny. And I think this is about 6.5 by 3. And then we just made a really simple little tag out of some paper and added a tab. All just using book pages. And how lovely is that? Again, if you just pin it, put the flap over the top and just pin it. Perfect. Next. Here I made this lovely one and I've decorated it. So it's the same fold and the same cuts and the same principles as the first one. But I've done it in a different way. So this one's folded in half. We've got a hinge. This one, we've left it spread out. We've not folded it in half. We've got 2 pockets. Each one opens like so. Okay. Like so. And then we've added it. You could add it as a belly band where you just glue top and bottom. I've glued it on 3 sides and I've got a large pocket all the way down there. Okay. You could even just make this, cut it in half and have 2 different separate pockets. But the fold that I've shown you is a versatile fold. You can adapt it to make lots of different versions. Okay. The reason I've shown you that is because, like I say, you can adapt it. Right, where's the other one? Where's the other one? And then this is the good old-fashioned tall, skinny envelope. No envelope punch board needed. All you need to do is fold your paper. I showed you how to do the gluing flaps. Really easy. Not by eye. I did use my ruler here, 1/2 inch, but you can do it by eye. And by doing the gluing flaps, you will see that it gives you the full depth of the pocket. When you glue them flat, it can be a bit tighter and obviously you're not getting the full space. So that's how you do it with the flaps. Okay, really simple, very easy. It's still very much by eye, and then we've got the little wrap to close it with. So I hope those ideas help. Very basic, very quick and easy, but you know, they're functional and adaptable. You can make them any size you want. Once you master those couple of techniques of making your own envelopes, you'll be making them out of anything and all different kinds of shapes and sizes and ideas and uses. Thanks for watching. Take care and I'll see you next time. Bye.